everybody. Oh my God, it's another week for Between the Sheets. I'm Gaye, your host. We have lovely women at the table, but I wanted to let you know, don't forget, we're on the first and third Friday of every month, 7 p.m. You're obviously watching us. I will post it eventually to iTunes and Facebook, and we'll have watch parties. All of us usually do watch parties right after. Podcast is... What am I talking about? The website is betweenthesheetspodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, QTE Brat. I want to send a shout out to my BFF out in the beach, and I hate that I'm not there with you, Kat. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Kat. Hi, Kat. Miss you.
So we have a new member today.
Yay.
And I feel like I've known her for eons already, and I just met her not that long ago. But it is our lovely friend, Kim Sanchez.
Thank you for having me. I hear I'm the only virgin here.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you
right?
are.
Yeah, you are. You are.
I'll break you in, don't worry.
We have.
I'm so afraid.
I want to say, Tony, thank you for doing the boards and everything this evening. And we'll go around the table. Let's start with to my right.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Rose, and you can find me on Facebook.
Hey guys, I'm Cheryl Murphy. I'm a psychic medium, and I have a website, cherylmurphy.net.
Hey guys, I'm Mara Shane. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Mara Shane, and I'm an artist and a creative director-editor.
I'm Cara Noble. I'm a voice artist, and I'm also a contributor and writer of questions and answers on Quora, which is how I found what our subject is tonight.
Oh.
So that's why I thought I'd mention it, because it's a very interesting, fun site.
Quora.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Well, let me start. First of all, you have to call us. I mean, the subject we're going to tackle, and I'll talk about it in a minute, but most of you know, you have to call us, because we're all at this table. Mm-hmm. Most of us have been through this. It's not fun. I was just going to use the F word. Cussing jar goes out the window today.
Is it venereal disease?
It is venereal disease. But it's 323-524-2599. The show is professional. I'm professional. My ladies are professional. This will not turn into the shit show that happened on my Facebook wall. And I always encourage dialogue for each and every one of you, a safe space and a place to talk. What happened last week or this week was uncalled for. I really want respect, and if we could all just respect each other a little bit more. It's a dialogue on any subject. No matter how painful, how funny, it's an open dialogue. No shit slamming. You're not evolved. You're part of the problem if you continue that conversation. So I would appreciate, and I know I'm really serious all of a sudden, but I do take this to heart. This is not gossip. We are talking about people's lives, and it can't be played with. And on that note, the subject is narcissism. We have gone back and forth on our 8th show, maybe, mentioning it, joking about it. I joke that Mara is a narcissist.
It's true, it's not a joke.
It's always about the lighting. No, she's a sweetheart. No, she's not. But we play with that word and that term, and it really shouldn't be, because people's lives are absolutely destroyed by it. Mine included at some point. And, when I tell people that I've been a survivor of narcissism, physical abuse, verbal abuse, they are surprised because I am so strong and tough and from Jersey. It's usually the stronger, tougher ones are the ones that have the biggest issues. Not issues, I don't have issues. I'm really not dysfunctional, I swear to God. But you deal with stuff, you deal with stuff. And you just learn to kind of cover it. And it is not a cool place to be. But this subject hits home to, like I said, almost everyone, if not personally at this table, friends and family members. There are many, many, many different spectrums of a narcissist. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, Christine, has a show called Out of the Box. And she interviewed a gentleman called, hold on, and thanks, Kat, H.D. Tudor. It's a 3-part interview. And I always thought I understood what narcissism was. But this gentleman is a practicing narcissist. He is coming clean. So if you do have a moment, do listen to part 1 and 2. 3 is coming up shortly. There are people that have been through this that it really hit home when they heard that interview. It really just it struck a chord. The way he breaks it down, the way he explains it. I actually reached out to him to participate last minute in tonight's show. He's in Europe. He can't do it, but he has offered to be part of the show at one point or another, maybe as a follow-up. But I did want to kind of open it up to everyone at this table about what this is. A lot of terminology has been thrown around.
Right, it's used like the word awesome.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't really mean anything. And
No.
we do have to figure that out.
Yes. And there are techniques that these monsters use. They usually attack. Their prey is usually an empath, someone that's very sensitive. We're all empaths at this table, which is why we all have gone through this. It is a sad state of affairs, but we will throw out some words now of what their techniques are. We'll have discussions about it. I swear it'll be funny at some point. This show will be funny. And we'll go through that. It's our job to sort of educate each and every one of you as we have been educated in the best lay way we know how, because we're not psychologists. We will go through stories. I would like you guys to call in and share, please. It is important. We all need to heal together. We all need to teach each other. We need to keep it straight. Well, there's not much straight
Forward,
at this
please.
table, but you know what I mean.
Or bent.
I think it's fair to say, though, before we start, that we all have narcissistic traits. We have to. It's about our own self-esteem. So it depends how far that they go. And I think something that you mentioned earlier, Kim, is sometimes people don't even realize that they're behaving in a narcissistic way, in a cruel way. It's just part of their makeup. Other people become less and less narcissistic as they grow older. And I'm just reading here, Freud considered narcissism a natural part of human makeup. We have to have it. It's just when it gets overblown and when it's used against other people. That's what we're talking about.
And, you know, even with Freud, there's the id, the ego, the id, the id, the ego, and the super ego. That is all part of narcissism. You also have the ultimate level of narcissism that does borderline on sociopathics.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
So
can
it's
be
the
very,
opposite.
very. Narcissism, I have found, has very similar qualities to a lot of other psychosis, like borderline personality, psychotic, like you said. So sometimes it's hard, especially if someone's a covert narcissist, or you don't know where. I think because a lot of the
That means they're covering up their narcissism.
Yeah.
With
They're
their
hiding
charm.
it. Yes, they're hiding
I
it.
know about that. 'cause
Right,
I'm-
and I think
Yeah.
that because lots of mental illnesses have such similar characteristics, it's really easy to misdiagnose
Diagnose.
somebody.
I think even
you
the
know.
professionals misdiagnose.
Yeah,
They do.
all
Yeah.
the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, and it's a personality disorder. We're not talking about
That's
healthy
right.
narcissistic traits. We're talking about someone who actually has a personality disorder. You know, like depression
The
or like
worst.
addiction or like so many other things that we deal with.
And with narcissism, it's about they have no remorse.
Right.
So like they're not compassionate people. And like you said, they're combining it. Also, they may have show traits of abusive, behavior towards, their loved ones, but they have no filter. There's no human connection there.
I once heard narcissism. This is great. This one thing stuck out at me from the books I would read on it. Talking to a narcissist and trying to get them to understand you is, you might as well picture yourself on a street and you're talking to a wall. Because you could say it till you're blue in the face. You can cry, you can do whatever. This wall is not able to empathize.
Because they don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing.
Exactly.
No
It's
empathy.
there's none.
I know.
And the thing is, I just want to make it clear. I mean, my narcissists have been relationships, but it doesn't only mean relationships. There are people like the gentleman that had the interview. His mother was a narcissist. You have fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters. It doesn't mean
Bosses,
bosses,
coworkers.
It
Friends.
doesn't mean it's only your partner, your husband, your wife, your lover. It transcends everything that constitutes itself as a relationship. Nothing is held sacred. Everyone, please call in, join the convo. 323-524-2599. Do not be scared. And please, when you call in, do not mention any names. It's all about anonymity. So, with that said, let's start with. I know you're chomping at the bit.
Come on, woman.
One of the lovely techniques, and I never knew it. I never used this. I used to use this word in a way because I thought it was what a cute word. You cute word. It's not a cute word. It's love bombing.
Yes.
I've never heard
Yes.
that.
Oh my
It's a love
God.
bomb.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, when you go to Bed Bath & Beyond, you get the bath
Yes,
bombs.
the fizzy.
Yeah,
Yes.
this has everything but fizzy.
Right,
It is one of the first steps to a narcissist getting inside your fucking head.
Yes.
And it feels so good.
Yes, it
feels
does.
So good.
feels like a high.
It is a high.
So I had somebody do this to me last year, and unfortunately, it was the second person in my life that I've ever fallen in love with. And I'm telling you,
Do you really know what falling in love is? You're 8 years old.
I'm actually 4.
Okay.
But like, I mean, we would literally text morning, noon, and night from like 6 a.m. to midnight every
Yeah.
single day.
Wow.
And just the attention that I would receive made me feel like I was on a high, like I was flying high on drugs. Like she was just the wind beneath my wings, and I could reach a new level every single day. It was just amazing. I know there's
There's a
somebody-
caller. Hold on. We have a caller, right, Tone? One or two? Two callers. Holy
Two
crap,
callers.
Ebola.
Great.
Tell me when. Hi, everybody, or you, whoever you are. This is Gaye, and welcome to Between the Sheets. What's your name? Or you can remain anonymous. It doesn't matter.
Hi there.
Hi.
It is Jana calling.
Hi,
How are
Jana.
you?
Fine. How are you, Jana? What's up?
Good. I'm trying to turn it down. How are you guys?
Fine. So what's going
I
on?
just-
What do you have to impart, sweetheart?
I've been through this. I feel bad for other people that are going through this. It's what a lot of people don't know is a lot of us have been through a lot of trauma in our lives, and it is scary. And unfortunately, things blew up the other day. A lot of people saw it, but it scares some of us. I think it's really a trigger for us that have been through it before in our past. And, it takes a lot of therapy and a lot of work to get through it. And then when you see other people going through it, it also sometimes gets you emotionally charged.
Yeah, it's part.
It
It's
sure
pouring.
does.
It's pouring salt on a wound again.
Nasty.
Right. Basically that. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I that's the thing. I want people to call in, and thanks for calling in, Jen. I appreciate it because we've got another caller. But again, this is open dialogue, open forum for everyone. Thanks, Jenna, for calling in. I appreciate you
you.
supporting the show.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We have another caller, Tone. Hi, it's Gayanne. Welcome to Between the Sheets. Who's calling?
Hey, Gaye, it's Liz from Portland.
Liz from Portland. How the hell are you?
Yes. I'm good. How are you, Gaye?
Good. I'm glad you got through. Everyone, this is Liz. She's an author from Portland. She actually just wrote a book on narcissism.
Oh, Liz.
And
Thanks for calling
and
in.
she will be coming down at some point, maybe. Hopefully we can get her in the studio. If not, we'll have her on by Skype.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth, why don't you tell us your full name? tell us the name of your book and impart some beautiful pearls of wisdom from your
Oh,
experience.
pearls of wisdom. Okay. So my name is Liz Scott. I'm a psychologist also, and my book is a memoir. It's called This Never Happened.
Oh, God.
And so I love this topic. I love, in quotes, this topic because, like I said, I'm a psychologist and also the child of a narcissist, or probably two. I would say probably two narcissists. So a subject that's I'm very familiar with.
So, Liz, when
Did I lose you?
No, you're here.
You're right there. When you say that maybe your mother and father were narcissists, what is the one thing? Is it the empathy piece that makes somebody a narcissist, the no empathy, or are there other things?
Well, one thing I want to say before I answer that, if I might,
Yes.
and let me put up my psychologist hat for a minute here, is that I really like that you all are talking about the fact that this is a continuum. I like to think about it like narcissism with a small n or a capital N. And there's narcissism with a capital N that's a personality disorder that's diagnosable, that has, criteria. And then there's narcissistic traits. And I can't remember which one of you said this, but there's also healthy narcissism that we all need in order to feel okay about ourselves. We all need a healthy sense of a healthy ego and a good sense of ourselves. So with that background, I think one of the trickiest things about being a child of a narcissistic parent is that you really only exist to the extent that you reflect hopefully positively on your parent. So, it's like the parent who drags the kid out to play the piano or, tap dance or something like that. And if you're not performing and reflecting well, you really don't exist in their eyes in a certain way. You're only there as a reflection. So that's, I think, one of the really hardest things about being a child of a narcissistic parent.
So, Liz, I have a question for you. What are some of the traits that your parents exhibited towards you growing up?
Yeah, so there's this grandiose sense of importance, a kind of preoccupation with success. My mother used to, when she was frustrated at waiting too long in a bank or something, she would scream out at the top of her lungs, "Do you know who I am?"
Right.
Which, of course, nobody knew who she was. So that sense that everybody should know who they are, this requiring excessive admiration,
And
sort of a really high sense of entitlement, and a lot of envy.
Wow. And so, I mean, that, I look at that, now knowing it's narcissism and going, oh, drama queen. I think women, obviously they seem to express it more. So maybe narcissism in women kind of runs that middle of the road where are they really a narcissist or are they just a drama queen and want attention? How is the difference between how your mother displayed her narcissism versus your father? Because most men are usually not that vocal or that dramatic unless they're gay. But
Hi, Tony.
hi, Tony. Hello, Tony.
Hi, honey bunny.
But seriously, I mean, what is something your dad did that really brought home that he was truly a narcissist as well?
Well, I'm going to have a hard time answering that because he abandoned our family and when I was about 10, and I didn't see him again until I was in my 30s, and then only once or twice. But I will tell you, I will talk about one man who is definitely a narcissistic personality disorder, and that is individual one. You know who I'm talking about?
The president?
Yes, I can't. I refuse to say his name. I refuse to say his name.
Right.
So
the fucktard.
Individual one meets every single criteria. Every single solitary criteria of narcissistic personality disorder. That would be with a capital N.
Wow.
So Liz, how do you get through it, or how how did you get through it, or what do you do every day? Are you more compassionate with yourself, or what's your self-care
And did it affect? I mean, I don't know if you're married or you have a relationship, and how did it affect that?
Well, badly. Badly. I mean, I think I'm not unlike a lot of kids who grow up that way, where we kind of go in the opposite direction. So the journey for me has been to try to find that place of healthy narcissism, to know that I, deserve to take up the space on the planet. So that's been I'm fucking old. I'm 72 years old. So
Wow.
Don't sound that way.
I'm very young.
Are you single? Oh, sorry, just saying.
I am single. Yeah.
I'm like, well, I would ask a question, but
But it's been a slog, I'll tell you, to get to this place where I finally feel like, okay, I can, I deserve to exist in this world, because anything that feels like attention feels, I've been very phobic about attention, because it feels like I'm sort of perilously close, like it's a slippery slope to crazy town.
To being sucked into a love bomb.
Yeah, to feel like, maybe I'm narcissistic too. If I like attention, or if I want attention.
But I like going club class. Does that mean I have a sense
challenge.
of entitlement?
well, I will tell you, I'm an Aries, and I love attention. I love feeling loved. I just do, and I definitely don't feel like a narcissist.
I think that's
for that.
where it also gets misconstrued.
Yes, I agree.
I was just going to say. I put up selfies.
So do I, and
quite
my
a lot.
sociopath selfies.
You do call them that, yes. I also was raised where, my parents, on one hand, they definitely supported me and encouraged me, but then there was also a lot of shame growing up in shining, which is like layers of this narcissistic stuff, but there's also a lot of shame. So sometimes when I'm just being myself and I'm just shining out there doing my thing, I have this fear, what are people gonna I hear this inner voice, oh, Mara, you're such a narcissist or whatever, and that's not true. I have finally gotten to a point now from therapy to understand that I am still allowed to shine, and not like it's not bragging, but I'm allowed to be myself. And the main thing is I have empathy for others, and it's not all about me. And I think that people that are out there and they either perform or they put themselves out there in expression, they can get judged for being narcissistic.
Absolutely. I'm an only child. That should be a born narcissist, okay? But I'm not. Everything, the world literally, for my parents, revolved around me. And yet, I never felt that way. Every time they said, if I was in the play or any achievement, I always downplayed it. And my answer was, of course they're going to say that. They're my parents. Of course they're going to tell me. So, that already builds into my thing, low self-esteem, insecurity, and, oh my God, if I walk around thinking I'm that, then I've got an ego. I was a kid, so the word narcissist wasn't around, but it was a bad thing. So I always downplay my achievements. Even now,
even today,
with having this show, and as popular as it is, we went to an event a couple of weeks ago, and I was hearing it left and right at this event from strangers, and I would I would say thank you, and then they wanted to continue to talk about it, and I would recoil and change the subject. And at one point, a friend of mine and I were sitting outside after the party, and we were just talking and just chatting, and two women came, and they started just talking, and I literally put my head down and got embarrassed. And we shouldn't be that way. You should sit there and say, Thank
Yes,
you.
and receive.
And receive, which is a whole other psychological issue I have with not being able to receive.
But I think also there's a difference between egotistical and narcissistic. I mean, that's not the same.
No.
You know what I mean? It's the narcissist can't be wrong. Nothing is their fault. Everything is your fault. Everything gets twisted around, even when it's not your fault to be made.
And
your
now we've
fault.
gone on to gaslighting.
And there's no empathy whatsoever. They cannot understand what you're going through.
Right.
Yeah,
Ever.
that sounds so like a psychopath to me, Liz. Is that? I mean, I'm confused.
they're both personality disorders, and there can be overlap, and in some way that's kind of, these are arbitrary distinctions in a lot of ways. But the other thing about these kind of people that are true personality disorders is that they are conditions that are evident really from childhood, and they are lifelong patterns. So as a psychologist, I'm not good at I don't want to work with a narcissist as a client.
Right.
I
hear you. I hear you have to be highly specialized.
There's no
Are they just going to play with you and play with you until they're just going to twist you around?
But Liz,
Is that right?
A lot of my friends who are going through this now, which is why it's a hotbed for me. It's people that I really love. I love them to the end of the world. And they've just gotten out of a relationship by not only, a partner that's a narcissist, but a friend that was jumping on the bandwagon that's a narcissist. So you have this woman being love bombed, fucking gaslighted, name your weird fucking shit left and right. And, besides all the stuff of feeling not worthy, and then you question yourself, and then you come out of it partially embarrassed, angry at yourself. And it's, as I said, she's just starting to begin to heal. And it's going to be a process, but it's like, her thing is, I just want my freedom. I don't want my back against the wall. I just want my freedom, because this whole thing has been masterminded in a way, gone along, lack of control, kept in a box, being told, being yelled, playing with, I love you, but if you do something I don't want, you speak up, then I don't love you. And it's that back and forth. It's like the floor is always moving. So what, as a psychologist and dealing with this and growing up with this in your life, like, what would be your best advice to someone coming out of this, and grateful that they've come out of it, because to stay in would have been worse? What is your best advice to give someone as they're moving out of this insanity?
Yeah, well, obviously the first best advice is, get out and stay out. And that the relief that you feel is really, really good information. And I think the deeper work is to try to learn about what kind of sticky receptors one might have that attracts somebody like that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because, I do think we tend to attract what we think we deserve. And so that can be a very provocative thing to say, but I think that there's always a benefit in exploring what was it about me and how and my unconscious needs that drew me to this person.
But not only
stay in it so long.
To stay in it so long, exactly.
If you can exit sooner, that's great.
Yeah.
So once they shatter,
well, it's always harder to get out. It always takes longer to get out of any relationship than we think we should.
Correct.
Always.
We all know that. But I mean, once you have this realization, I mean, there is hope. I mean, that person can love again. That person can first start with loving themselves. I think the first key, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not a psychologist, is to sort of forgive yourself and learn to love yourself. And then you still have the ability to open up and be worthy of some healthy fucking person.
Right, but you have to be healthy
Of
first,
course.
like
Yeah,
working on your
of
own
course,
boundaries
yeah.
and
Yeah.
getting
Yes.
yourself there so that you don't repeat that again. It's huge. Like, you know, there are groups out there. I mean, even a Codependence Anonymous group can be helpful if you can't afford therapy. I mean, you
I did
have to
codep-
start up.
I did that for a long time.
You did?
I went to Codependence Anonymous, yes. And the biggest eye opener was the fact that I was not making people act a certain way. And that's what I was told growing up. I was definitely told your mother is acting this way because of you. So I grew up thinking that I had the power to make people act some way. If some, that's why when you take things personal. If I took things personally, I was deluded in thinking that I had that power. And the biggest thing about Codependence Anonymous, step one, is we admitted that we are powerless over our codependency, but also that we are not in control of other people and how they act to us.
And you know what the sad part is
Yeah.
the people that are the victims in this, they tend to end up self-medicating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very, very
Self-medicating. Not necessarily, I mean, I'm not.
You mean like alcohol and
alcoholism,
stuff?
Yeah.
drugs,
weight gain,
weight
stress,
gain,
Yeah,
stress,
yeah.
and you tend to self.
Haagen-Dazs.
Haagen-Dazs.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like it. I would do the.
Yeah.
I'd be huge. Is what I'd be.
Dairy-free.
But I mean, you literally they self-medicate. So, you know, what is your suggestion, Liz? You know, when someone sees that they're in it, and it is brainwashing to some degree. What's it called? The Stockholm syndrome type of thing.
Trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah.
Manipulation.
How does someone, if they're not quite there yet to walk away, how do they sort of, any tips for them to A, recognize it, B, pull themselves out of it, and C, to not self-medicate?
What about smoking more pot? Wouldn't that do it?
Edibles. Yeah. Mushrooms.
Yeah.
Anything, you name it.
How about we just go to the gym and work out and meditate? That's
Oh,
what I do.
Wow, sounds like fun to me.
Just
Nah,
keep it healthy.
Yeah, let's go to the gym. Although I did just go buy a whole bunch of hiking things. I'm going to start hiking, so that's a good thing. But do you have any before I let you off the air, because I want to do a real interview later on with you, and I really appreciate staying on and giving us some insight from a professional, and a professional and a survivor. What are there any parting words that you want to say to any of the listeners?
Well, you know, in some ways you can't push the river, and so I think people have to get miserable enough before they get out. You know, unfortunately, you can you can block out anything your friends are telling you, or you know, it's easy to justify and to rationalize. And we only tend to make changes when we're in enough pain. And I think the unfortunate thing about medicating is that when you medicate the pain, it just prolongs the information that you need in order to get out.
Yes.
So you know you dull the impulse, and so that just makes it longer. You probably stay in a relationship longer if you're numbing yourself out in any way whatsoever.
Yes,
So
you
Can
do.
I ask you?
I mean,
Sorry.
I think, you know, being quiet with yourself, listening to yourself, you know, listening to your inner wisdom, taking some time to really, you know, what do I know to be true? How does this feel? Does this feel okay? Does this not feel okay? You know, to be asking yourself these questions. But I mean, I think everybody's got their own journey in this. And like I said, I'm not sure you can push the river.
All right. Mara has one last question.
I do have this burning question.
Burning.
Yearning
Burning.
question,
Burning
Liz.
yearning.
For you, Liz. I've always wondered, you know how the narcissistic, a severe narcissist can do this dogma and talk about themselves like they're God and you know, say these absurd things about themselves and all that.
Sort of grandiosity.
Grandiosity. I wonder, do they deep down really feel that way about themselves, or are they aware? I mean, I never know if they really feel that way, or they have such poor self-esteem that they're just putting that on to make themselves feel better.
It's
Yeah, I don't think this is a matter of awareness, by the way, but I think that I think you're absolutely right that this personality disorder, probably like borderline and some others, really is about somebody having a complete emptiness inside, and that they do what they can do to fill in that emptiness.
Okay, so they don't. They
So,
have.
but I don't think it's at a conscious level.
Yeah, they believe the lie that they're saying.
So while
they
they're
believe
saying
the
these
story.
crazy things about themselves and how they should be treated and this and that, they literally believe that. But you're saying it's not about that. It's about the fact that they are void and they're just void inside and empty, and so they lapse into this behavior. Okay.
Yes.
I had one other fucking question, and it went out the way. But you know what? Whatever. I have no clue. I mean, it was going to be it was burning too.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm menopausal and I'm sweating.
Maybe it's like gaslighting, burning.
It's burning in here.
It's the lights because
Holy
I'm burning
shit.
too.
Well, Liz, I know what I want to ask you. Like for a lot of types of psychosis and stuff, there's like real medication, pharmaceuticals. Is there any cure for a fucking narcissist?
No.
Okay.
Sad.
No.
It's so sad.
No, and this is not a psychosis. A psychosis is a thought disorder. This is not a psychosis. Psychosis can be treated pretty well with medication. This is a personality disorder, and there really has not been much, if any, success treating any personality disorders with medication.
That is so weird. That what are they just? Well, okay. Here's the thing, Liz. I heard that. I heard that narcissism starts from a traumatic incident in someone's childhood, right? That's what I heard. So I'm wondering, are you born with this personality disorder, or is it from your environment?
I couldn't answer that. I don't think anybody has the answer to that.
Sometimes they say teenage. I've been reading starts in your teens.
But a person
You would see evidence of have you heard of the triad of bedwetting, torturing animals, and setting fires?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That appear in children. That's a kind of a triad that suggests psychopathy.
Sounds messy.
And, so you see that kind of thing early on, and that person, that's really going to be a lifelong. I mean, it sounds so pessimistic and awful, but really a lifelong situation.
And no therapy helps.
Not really.
Yeah. Because,
not if you don't
why?
know.
Well, why? If you don't think there's anything wrong with you, it's like that your scenario, talking to a damn wall.
God, it's so
and
sad.
it's
right, exactly.
It's like you're a narcissist. And then even if you confront it, because I did. I got to a point.
Confront.
I confronted and said, "You are a narcissist."
Right.
And they like totally went in my way. And I will tell you a funny story. I started the show, and again, narcissism does come up. And the night of the show, I get a call from the person, and she said, "Why are you talking about our relationship? Why are you talking about me?" And you tell me you're not a narcissist? Seriously.
That's a riot.
Seriously. And now we don't talk. And what's really sad is that there's a piece of me that loves her a little bit. She's kind of like a wounded bird.
Yeah.
And
Sad.
I felt I could help her through this, which is my problem. I have stopped. I mean, that was the last one I stopped it because it was back and forth and verbal abuse. Yeah. And I thought, she'll come around.
Well,
and one of her favorite things used to say to me, no matter how bad she used to yell at me, call me names, she said, "I don't understand." She said, "Because I can't even rattle you."
Oh, geez, wow.
She'll be on the phone in a minute.
In a minute, she'll be on the phone. As a matter of fact, we haven't talked for months, and I'm sure I'll get that call.
Probably will.
And she's in Portland.
Gay,
Liz,
Gay, I got to get off the phone
Yes.
now. I'm late for an
Go.
appointment.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye, Liz.
Hey,
Thank you.
hey, everybody, just
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
honey. 323-524-2599. We have another caller. Hi, this is Gaye. Welcome to Between the Sheets. Who's calling, please?
Hey, Gay, it's Christine Blosdale.
Hi! Oh my God, I totally plugged your show.
Yes, she did.
You did?
I totally plugged your show. Everyone, this is Christine. She is brilliant. She does the show Out of the Box.
Yes.
She actually interviewed a 3-part interview. 3 is coming out soon with that
my.
guy, HG
It's
Tudor.
coming out this weekend. It's actually
Really?
going to come out either tonight or tomorrow. Just depends if I can get my stuff together. But
And as soon
I
as
had to call in.
hold on one second.
Say it
And
again?
Christine is wonderful. She's going to be part of this show one day. She lives at the beach. She had an unfortunate accident, so she can't come up. But one day I may just have to go there and drive her ass up to be in this because she's one of our circle. She's wonderful. So there, I promoted you. Love you very much. So go.
Yes, thank you so very much. This is so fresh because I just conducted the interview with H.G. Tudor, who is a psychopathic narcissist, and the work that he's done, although he admits that he is a master psychopathic narcissist, he has actually helped quite a few people escape the clutches of narcissists, several thousand of them. The thing that when you had mentioned, is there any kind of therapy or can they be rehabilitated? The answer is no. Many of them lack all empathy, so it is like a vampire. They do not have empathy, so they don't care if they're hurting your heart. They don't care if you're destroyed. Your trust in human beings are destroyed. It is all about fuel, and the fuel for a narcissist is your emotions, your emotional energy. So that means
positive or negative.
That's the gaslighting, right? That's the love bombing, in the beginning, the honeymoon, the love bombing. You're my soulmate. Oh, my God, I can't imagine ever meeting the person of my dreams. And then there's the ignoring. And then there's the triangulation where they're off with other people. And then they lie to you they lie about everything, by the way.
Oh, my God, this hurts so bad.
But their
This really
fuel
hurts.
is your emotion. And one thing that he made very clear is that he said, if you know, you must go. In other words, if you know the person that you are dating or you're married to or who is your mother, you must go because you cannot rehabilitate them. You cannot save the marriage or save the relationship, and they will continue until you're completely destroyed.
Does that mean
that was something that came across very harsh, but very true?
Does that mean that you cut them out of your lives completely, or you learn to set
Yes.
boundaries? What does that mean?
It means you block them on all your social media. You do not answer phone calls. You tell friends and family, do not talk about this person with me. Do not talk to them about me. You do not answer calls. You do not answer emails. If you have to move to another location, you do that.
So, Christine, we treat these we're treating these people on the very same platform that we do stalkers.
They are. They're emotional stalkers.
Not only emotional,
I call them heart collectors. I call them heart
collectors.
Very true.
But financial collectors. I have a friend who is in this relationship now and has loaned this person, a few thousand. So, they are after everything, right? They're after your livelihood, if some way, your life.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Your soul.
They'll spend
They're
it all.
after, remember, it's the emotional fuel, the emotional charge. So if they get you upset, that's the whole thing. So if it's financial ruin, great. If it's they break your heart, they're cheating on you, whatever, great. It's keeping you in that emotional charge. When you disconnect that and when you cut that off completely, they don't have that food, that source. So they're going to keep trying. They're going to keep trying for a little bit longer, but then they're going to go somewhere else.
Now,
because they need that.
Now, Christine, for example, scenario: someone sees someone at a party. They eye them. Let's say they're looking at them. Then they make the first move. And I'm not talking sexually, just the first move. And then you're saying then once they get to know you a little bit, then they come in sort of for the courtship. Maybe if it's just a friendship. So they'll come up with maybe some bullshit like, oh, I've known you in another life, or the psychic told me that this is the house I was going to live in. You have the hair color. So they start that. Is that called grooming?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's love bombing and grooming. And here's another thing: when their victims are usually empaths. Because empathic people, and I'm an empath, and I had this happen to me, and I couldn't believe that someone would ever do something like that. I mean, who would do that, right? In your right mind, who would spend all that energy and time Well, an emotional vampire would do that. And they are attracted to empaths because empaths think that other people love like they do. Empaths think that you have, if somebody's hurting, you want to make them feel better. You want to help them. And a narcissist lacks empathy. So it's the perfect victim.
Ugh.
And when somebody, and usually they're quite charming, many times they're good looking. It could be a man, it could be a woman. And you're like, oh my gosh, here's this really gorgeous person who's telling me all these great things that I really like to hear about. How sexy I am, how great I am, how smart I am. And there's a part of us that wants to believe that. Because
but Christine,
who would do that
but
to
Christine,
somebody else?
when
right?
someone has been through this and then someone genuine comes along, like an empath. So you've been with narcissists and then an empath comes along and is genuine. How difficult, it is difficult then for the person that's the victim to learn to trust immediately.
Yes.
Well, that's the importance of your program. That's the importance of the series of the 3 programs that I've done with my interview with a master narcissist. The importance of those programs is because millions of people have been so devastated that they lack trust now in anyone. Their hearts have been shattered into powder. And so the idea of even going out on the ledge and maybe letting someone else in to do that to them again is so painful that they would rather, you know what, I'd rather just sit at home with my cats. You know, that kind of a mentality. For myself, it was shortly after I had experienced a narcissist and connected all the dots, right? Because there was always a red flag.
Right.
There's always a red flag, but we ignore it because they come back and say something really beautiful, or they do something really nice, or they give you a present or whatever. So they keep you ensnared. But when I found out everything and I was like, oh my God, and I cut everything off, I had a very hard time trusting my heart, trusting myself. And you said something earlier, which was very important. You have to first forgive yourself, number 1. Number 2, you have to turn all of that love that you gave that other person back to yourself. And when you're able to fully love yourself and forgive yourself, then you may have the opportunity to open up to someone else. And I was extremely lucky. My true twin heart, my true sacred heart, she's my wife right now.
Yay.
She came into my life.
How
but
long?
In the beginning,
I gotta know how
that's
long.
scary.
How long? How long
it was
between
just
recovery
It was
and
a few. It was a few months after. I would say it was probably 2 to 3 months after, where I was just completely isolated. Where I just shut everybody off. I just said, I've just got to heal myself and not look anywhere else except for within myself.
And
that's part of the
And then
key.
how did you then at that point, once the healing process began, why did you say, were you then at that point going, I am now opening my heart up to love? Or did you just stumble upon your wife?
She actually found me, and she found me on social media, which is also another feeding ground for narcissists, by the way. They love social media because they'll go and they'll stalk your profile and they'll see that you posted some poem by Rumi about 3 months ago or 3 years ago. And then they'll come to you one day and they'll quote Rumi and they'll go, I really love Rumi. And they're like, oh, you're kidding, me too. I love, Rumi and chocolate chips and the same things you do. Wow. Well, they've already studied your profile, so they all know that. But when when she came into my life, I had gotten to the point where I had gotten done with bashing myself and being upset with myself for being a fool. And then I was able to say, you know what? I deserve love and I trust myself.
Wow.
And it takes a big leap of faith.
Shift.
But there are millions of other people that are they're done. They're after a narcissist experience, they're done.
And especially
they're not doing it again.
If you've grown up and just one after another in your life and it has done such damage, you can lose sight of who you are and the real truth. And I remember I used to really need the validation of other people so that I could love myself because I was, I was really put down a lot in my life. And I feel like I couldn't see the accuracy of who I was. It's very hard to be objective about your own self anyway.
Right.
But I've had a job done on my head, you know, and it's still extremely hard to start to love myself.
But there is this insecurity. I mean, even with me, there is still this little bit of insecurity, little bit of self-esteem that is around there. As you know, and I always say, you know, am I not good enough? Am I not good enough? How come someone doesn't want to love me? I love them back. Am I not good enough? You know, and it does play with my head because I am open and willing.
They're incapable, but they're incapable of love.
But I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm going to fall in love with another narcissist. And if I do, please take me to the back and shoot me. That's all I'm asking.
Will. Don't worry.
All right.
I'll do it.
But I want healthy. I'm opting in for healthy, and I am, you know, not, you know, I just want healthy.
When you say incapable of love, they truly do not feel love, or do they know they don't feel love? Do they know they have no empathy?
No, they don't.
They
don't.
They feel like
because they lack the empathy. They lack the ability to love. I've studied a few of the like the grand narcissists, the HG tutors, and many of them, and I think your friend, the psychologist, would agree. Many of these people have suffered trauma at a very early age.
That's what I asked her.
Yeah. So they've suffered trauma at a very early age when we're talking like baby, infant type thing. And it's sexual abuse or physical abuse or emotional abuse. And so they've cut off their feelings because the initial thing that a baby wants is love.
Right.
And they reach out to their parent. Now, if their parent is, you know, torturing them, well, they learn to shut that off and almost to go into another personality just to survive.
They think
Truly.
it's their fault.
Exactly.
Full of shame.
they escape.
So, Christine, I mean, I know there's a whole bunch of things, as we talked about. I think the two bigger things that we discussed and just threw on the table were love bombing and gaslighting. What do you call this when this happens? When you're out and you're out with people and the narcissist who is out with pretty much strangers and their friend, partner, or whatever it is at the time, and they begin to discredit that person in front of strangers at the table and belittle them.
Oh, you mean when they're not there and you?
Oh no, everybody's all at this table.
Who are they belittling?
They're belittling the victim.
That's sitting there.
That's sitting there.
Oh.
And this was the first time that I had met the victim. And it was me, my friend, and them. And they belittled the victim, and I was horrified.
Oh.
But it was like the narcissist. It's like the narcissist didn't give a fuck because there's no empathy.
No.
But didn't even like think that this could be even inappropriate to fucking do at a social gathering.
Because they don't feel like us. They don't feel like normal people. They don't
Exactly.
understand that that's hurting you.
That's so sociopathic.
But the thing is, as an empath, my heart fucking broke at that table, and I was this close from saying something, which I did not. And luckily, they left early, and we, you know, had a discussion
So
after.
if someone's a covert narcissist,
Yeah.
aren't they hiding the fact that they're mean? So I don't quite understand.
But that's a mean motherfucker.
It's a different
I mean, that's
type.
A whole different type of
Different type of
narcissist
narcissist.
who, you know, is, you know, very popular. You know, they feel they've got this crowd around them that makes them fill their ego and fill their stuff, and yet they take a person who was in fucking love and totally decimated them in front of perfect fucking strangers.
It seems
Because-
so mean-spirited.
It is.
So I would say that they're, even though they can't feel anything, how are they like able to be so mean?
Because they don't know they're being mean.
Yeah, and they don't have the awareness that they are mean.
It's also a form of isolating. Another thing that they like to do is they
And
like to
devaluing.
isolate their
Absolutely.
victim.
Oh,
So they'll totally tell lies about the person to their friends, you know, on social media. They go, oh, she's this crazy nut job, this psycho. who follows me around, and she says that we're seeing each other, and we're not. I'm married, or I love my wife, and this woman is just crazy. They like to do that to isolate the victims and to make them look like the crazy one.
This makes me just so fucking angry because, again, my life was very quiet. And now, what has happened to me is that the narcissist has blocked me because they saw pictures on Facebook and stuff with people. So I am blocked. So the narcissist did me the favor.
Yeah.
But
Right.
now the third party, the friend that was coming in to rescue this person, who, by the way, is another narcissist, now called me the other night and didn't say nice things. So, I mean, the thing is, I have one isolating me and one affecting me, or trying to create this schism between me and this person. And I'm going to make the assumption that they purposely want to draw a wedge between me and my friend. I'm going to guess that. Is that a technique, Christine?
It's just a triangulation. It's to evoke emotion from you, and it's working.
It is.
Yeah.
Very well.
Well, I can't help it.
And if they blocked you, it's to evoke an emotion from you.
Correct.
So that
Yes.
you beg them to come back, to
Well,
get
I
a
ain't
rise out
begging
of
this
you.
bitch. She's too fucking old to act this way. But I am begging her. I'm actually looking at it as a good riddance. And the other one, I am going to keep at bay because I don't care. I don't know these people. But I really want to just say thank you for jumping in. Thank you for
My
giving
pleasure.
us your insight.
you.
Thank you
Yes,
for
thank
your
you.
support. And I will come down there, up there, you're down, to come and pick you up and bring you. And then when your wife is in town, let's go out to dinner.
I'd love that.
Thank you, Christine.
And check out the third part of the series on narcissists. It'll be out tomorrow, and it's at outoftheboxwithchristine.com. There'll be a link to the show.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
The first
Hey,
two are
everyone,
amazing.
thank
Thanks for your work.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Everyone,
Thank you.
it's an amazing show. We have half an hour left. I want to get to the round table of the ladies, but we still want to hear your calls. 323-524-2599. So we're half an hour in. I want to hear everybody's fucking story.
I want to touch on something really. What Christine had said about you have to go when if you know you go. When I was in Codependents Anonymous, we also learned, because it's a spinoff of Alcoholics Anonymous and such, that sometimes you can't go. Okay, sometimes with an alcoholic, you are in a situation where going is not a possibility. So how do you deal then with the person who is causing all this chaos? And that's why I started to read a ton of books. And one of the techniques, basically what I have found is I do know that going would be the opportune thing for me, and I'd love to, but sometimes I can't go. So if I'm not either ready to go or whatever, it's not like my life is going to be hell. And I sometimes feel like that will be the case. But if you learn some techniques, like one of these techniques in a book told me to picture the narcissist in front of you at age 5. You guys have probably heard this, right?
No.
You're supposed to picture them as if they are age 5 in front of you, because that is where their emotional growth has been stunted. So that is one technique that I have found you can try. But again, it's just so pervasive, and it's a lot so similar to living with somebody who is an alcoholic or unpredictable and all that. I just wish we could all kind of talk about what other techniques are there if you can't go. What are you supposed to do?
For me, in my life, because I do have some family members I just shut down. I just turn them off. It's like a
mentally.
Yeah, mentally. I just turn them off like a TV station. They could keep going, but I'll just completely tune out, and I'll already be in my head thinking about something else.
How do you do that? What do you like? You're just not really listening? Or are you in front of them at the time when this is going on?
Yeah, I could be both. They could be, talking in front of me, or or just in a different room. But yeah, talking in front of me, I just shut down and I just think of a song in my head.
Yeah.
And it's just like, earlier.
But that's your coping mechanism.
My coping mechanism. I could shut down because I was raised by them.
What if they're asking you questions and they're expecting you to answer them on things?
Who cares? Do we really have to fucking pay attention to these fuckers?
Yeah. I don't respond because you're giving them what they want. And so I'm just going to say, I don't choose to, respond to you or engage with you right now. I tend to just
agree with the narcissist even when I don't.
But you're feeding into it, which is what she just told me. When I was blocked, I mean, I texted her. Oh, don't think I didn't text her. I texted her and I said, why did you block me? And her answer was, you won't understand. Yeah. Fuck you, fuck you. And I didn't say that. I just got the do not understand, and I pulled back. And then I took a breath because I am a hot-tempered Italian. And when people attack my friends, I am on you like a pit bull. But I realize I'm not dealing with someone with a full deck.
That's the whole thing. That's why I would agree, because sometimes it's just easier to just, you are on autopilot. Sure, totally. Oh, can you believe she did this to me? Oh, I can't even.
You sound such like a Valley girl right now.
Yeah. You haven't even heard me do my Valley girls. So, like, they'll be like, can you even believe that she said that to me?
That's so good. That's like a big butt song.
That's so sexy.
Call me later tonight.
Exactly. Like, I literally couldn't fucking believe she said this. Can you literally believe she said this to me?
But that's gossip too.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, I know when I'm in the company of a narcissist that I'm not going to try to get my point across. I am stuck for whatever reason in this conversation. I want it to be over as fast as I can.
That's your best
So what
bet.
I do is agree.
But why not do what I do?
What do? You confront?
You walk away.
Yeah.
You
I'm
disarm.
saying if you
You have to disarm, because there's something, there's something bubbling under.
So here's the question that I have for you, Gaye.
Yes, Tristan.
Is
Roxanne.
what we were talking about earlier.
You talk about split
what we were talking about earlier.
Roxanne.
So it is all about disengaging. We all can agree on that. So when they disengaged from you and unfriended you and blocked you, why did that make you so upset? Like, for me, when someone unfriends me and blocks me, I'm like, oh, good riddance. I no longer have to deal with that person. Thank you, Lord, for showing me that person does not belong in my life. Why are you charged?
Most people are, Gayan.
Thank you.
I'm
every woman.
I'm thankful to God.
But that is what they're looking for. They're looking for the charge. So you're feeding into
I did feed one time.
You're human.
But I mean, why? Because I have so much anger at this person that she disrespected my friend. And I wanted to have a voice. I would have throttled her.
Yeah.
I would throttle her if I saw her tomorrow. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
This is the challenge, is not letting this anger from these people rattle us so much all the time.
Cheryl, I want to hear from you.
I just want to tell you guys that I was just in this situation with a friend of mine like a week ago. I was visiting, and I had it right in front of me that this person she was dating actually tried to keep her and I apart. I was flying in. So I'm flying in on the airplane, and he's making excuses that, she shouldn't be seeing me, or he's making reasons, making things up. And so, I mean, that's really hurtful, right? When you're someone's, childhood friend, you're going there to visit them, they're in a new relationship, and all of a sudden their new person in their life is trying to block you. And I saw it, and I saw the love bombing, and I didn't realize it was a high. That helped me understand, because she was getting text. I was with her, right? So I got with her, and this texting is nonstop. I got to tell you guys,
that's weird.
It's amazing to observe it and watch it happening right in front of me. And, I am a medium. I'm intuitive. I help people. When I do readings for them, I help them, whether they're male or female. I try to help them. I recommend a couple of books that I have learned a lot from. One of them is Dr. Christiane Northrup, called Dodging Energy Vampires. She also has
get that book.
She has a lot of free videos on YouTube and on her website. But once again, it is an energy vampire, and really the best thing to do is to
sever
all ties.
I know.
Yeah.
It really
you really
is.
do. I mean, and I think you do. I mean, that is why it's interesting, because when you see your friends going through it, and you see clarity.
Yeah.
You absolutely see the clarity
When it's not
in it.
you going
When
through
it's you're not
it.
going
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
it.
right.
You could see it, and you recognize the signs, and then you tell them. And they're not really 100% willing to listen, because there's just that little glimmer of not sympathy, but something for them. But truly, you need to, once you make that decision to walk away, and I'm looking at you because you just made that decision.
Yay.
Yes.
The decision was made for me. I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
But here's the deal. When you tell a narcissist they're a narcissist, they will discard you. They will discard you in a heartbeat without any warning.
That's good.
Because nothing's wrong with them. They're perfect.
And it is. It turned out
a way to get rid of them.
It turns out to be good, obviously, because my loyalty and my love are so deep and strong. I would never leave you. I would never leave you. I will never think that there's nothing we can't overcome. That's
I would.
Who I am.
I'll tell you why.
Why, Mara?
Well, I'm sure you want to know. I don't believe in unconditional love.
What do you mean you don't believe in it?
I don't believe in it because I believe that I keep you in my life if you are able to reciprocate and be loving, and if you're not and you're a narcissist, I don't have love for you. It's like I mean, it's really sad too if you're like, if you love the person because your ties go really deep, but yet still see that they're a narcissist. So I believe that everybody has the right to walk away from somebody if they're being violated and they're not.
Absolutely.
And that, I guess that's why I say I don't believe in unconditional love, because no, if you treat me that way, I won't be there
But I
for
think
you.
that's great for you too, because you have had so much coda and you've gotten so much help. I was just starting that process. I think I was 2 months into coda when somebody said, "Hey, have you ever heard the term narcissist?" And that was literally 10 months ago.
That's
I'd
great.
never heard it before.
No, I've dealt with this my whole life. So.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with unconditional love, I mean, I've always been told, you have probably the greatest capacity than anyone I've ever met to love unconditionally. And I do. I agree. Look, I've been.
Sounds like you're love bombing yourself there, baby.
That's great then if she is.
I want to love bomb myself
because
too.
because I do want to go into something with an open heart and an open mind and give the relationship an opportunity. Now, as I get older, I'm able to be discerning. I'm learning to be discerning. That word comes up in the past year.
It's a good word.
That word has been coming from everywhere.
Needs to be everybody's word.
And the number 1111. But but before that, I gave, and it was completely genuine. And I'm like you. This was not my narcissist relationship. I was with someone for 18 years because I love them, and I always would say, this is going to work. It's going to work. And you'd go to therapy, and you'd go to here.
That's marriage, right? That's what they want to have happen in marriage.
Yeah, and maybe I'm old school, and my parents were married for 53 years,
I
and it was a
understand.
wonderful relationship, and I wanted that. So I guess I just threw myself into these relationships with the hope that that would be what I would find. And then I got into the lesbian community.
Well,
Then you could find that it's hopeless in the lesbian community.
But also,
And forever flew right out the door.
Exactly. So, it's about valuing someone and devaluing someone. And when someone holds that in the palm of their hands to determine your future, that's fucked up.
It totally is, but you have to value yourself more than anybody.
Exactly. But most of us come into this shit because we are all a little bit broken.
Oh,
we all are a little
Everyone is.
dysfunctional.
Yes. Totally.
This is the norm, okay? We come into this world a little skewed up. So it's then and we're told not to love ourselves, love others, love this, projection,
Don't
value
shine.
this, don't shine. So by time we turn 50-ish, you're sitting here going, how did this happen to me?
I think the biggest thing of all of this is that for people like us that are empaths, it's extremely daunting try to even attempt to understand a narcissistic personality disorder. It's like we can't go there. I don't get it. And there's nothing more crazy making than that for us to try to wrap our heads around.
Yeah, it seems
doesn't make any sense.
It's so foreign.
Foreign, yes.
And what I also experienced was, they usually have addictive behaviors also. Did you guys know that? I mean,
No, I did not.
The narcissists?
Narcissists
Oh, yeah, I know that.
are, whether it's the alcohol or the sex or the food or the gambling, I mean, they do kind of have other addictions along with that to help
interesting.
people recognize, that they're in that type of relationship. And also, like I said, jealousy. Usually a narcissist has a very high degree of jealousy where that isolation does happen. They want to isolate you and, to have you all to themselves, and that way they can, work their manipulation on you, so to speak.
And because when they have you all to themselves, the triangulation works so much better.
Right. And this, like, I'm talking about a friend of mine, there was this one person, while she was in the narcissist relationship, came to the rescue and isolated. And she was just like, let's go out, let's mingle, let's do this. And they always wanted to create situations where it was always them two doing this, them two doing that. And she would have to push her friend to go, no, let's go out in public. So, it was like double mind fuck.
Oh, totally. And I think the biggest thing is the red flags. And as soon as we really listen to our instincts, I get red flags sometimes when I have no reason to, like, my intuition will say, I don't like this person, I don't feel comfortable around this person. And the most frustrating thing is when I don't have any reason to think that, but something's coming on a deeper level here. So I think for me, the best thing, I pat myself on the back when I get out of relationships with narcissists sooner than I would have in the past. Every time is progress. Like, well, I only lasted 2 months there,
Right.
Out.
Good for you.
That's
But the
really
question
good.
here, Mara,
That's the
for
goal.
you, why do you get into them anymore at all?
Well, sometimes I don't know.
If you've got the signs, honey.
Well, no, because there must be a part of me that is either trying to, it's familiar. So I attract that because it's familiar. A lot of them have fucking great sense of humor, which, I mean, I love that. Like, sometimes to me, like, if someone has a great sense of humor, if they're on, like, I know
It's better than sex.
if they're on my level,
It's better than sex.
then I just, like, I want to hang
You
on
haven't
to
had
them.
good sex. I will continue to tell you that.
I've got a feeling Cheryl could probably.
I
help answer
have
that
had
question.
good
Guys.
fucking sex.
Every time
haven't.
you say that, you haven't.
I've never had good sex.
And
Is it
just
something you
want to
do
go
with-
back to what you were saying.
I
Mara,
only have had good sex in my 50s.
Okay, there's hope for me then.
Yes.
Okay, so go back to what Mara was saying. You touched on a great subject right there. You said there was something that you felt. And I think because we're all empaths at this table, we need to listen to our intuition. We just do, because we know things on a deeper level that most people just don't.
But sometimes, here's what I'm going to say. It felt so good that I ignored every red flag
you're
that
so
came
But that's
up.
what
in
I'm saying.
the 6
But
months.
see,
It
that's
felt so
Right.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
You get
knew,
this,
though, you
but
know?
you
I did
get
know.
this feeling,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's why I'm glad Cheryl's here, because I mean, we are all, besides empaths, everybody except for narcissists, we're intuitive. We literally are at that base of our core. We are intuitive. And it still is a mind fuck that we screw up with our own heads. When we see that and feel it, we go forward. Like a friend of mine, she said she ran away from her. The woman came, got her, and she knew it wasn't right, but she still slipped into it.
Well,
Well, we
Kim
keep calling
just-
ourselves victims, and I don't think that's really quite right.
No.
We choose it sometimes.
Choose it, exactly.
Right.
We choose it. We choose the broken
experiences.
child that we want to fix.
Yes.
True.
Very
wanting to
true.
Always
fix
done it.
people
Very
is
true.
And-
Wanting to fix people and save
Yes.
them.
And because the thing
Right.
is, I will say straight up. I mean, I'm not only an empath, I'm an addict. You don't have to do too damn much to make me feel like shit about myself. It's not going to take you too long to make that happen to me, or to take all the blame on myself. I'm more than happy to do that. You know what I mean? I'm a narcissist wet dream.
Yeah, I know.
You're an empath, and I think just in a healthy perspective, sometimes we do look at ourselves first to see how we can improve, but then there comes a point where maybe it was said the right way, where you start doubting yourself, and then that door opens, and then there you go. But
I think that we're all on paths, and we're learning life lessons that some people have to learn different life lessons. For me, the repetitive one is narcissism that keeps coming into my life over and over and over and over again. I've been I wouldn't say I've been self-involved in my life many times where I haven't grown up to where I'm at now with therapy and CODA and everything. But there were times where I was very self-involved. I always had empathy for people and was very sensitive, but I could be like the world revolves around me when I was in my 20s.
Well, I had a little story. I was on the radio in London, and I was kind of famous for quite a while actually.
Ooh.
And it
does go to your head.
It does.
It does.
It's really not. It's not a healthy place to be.
No, I mean, look, this show has gone to my head every once in a while. I'm not going to lie. I mean, my job, what I do for a job, people would die for.
Yeah.
It goes to my head sometimes. And I think that's human. It's, you can fluctuate in and out, but the important part is awareness of what you're doing and not staying in that space.
So true.
And to have the people and circle around you that when you get to that space go, are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, yeah. I have friends call me out in my group
Me
of friends.
too.
Yeah.
And that's the people you want around,
Yeah,
the
I
ones
like
to
that.
call you out. And the times that they call you out, those are the same people that you need to listen to when you get into a screwed up, narcissistic, bullshit relationship that you have to trust them. Keep your circle of friends tight. Only trust. It's kind of like I said on Facebook, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, and if they're batshit crazy, run the fuck away.
Oh, yeah.
But I also do want to say that every person has their own screwed up stuff. There is not one person out there that's perfect or is not fighting some demon or dealing with something. So I think that's why I'm understanding them so much more. Like I'm thinking, well, I've got my stuff and this is just your stuff and we'll work on it and it'll be okay. But they don't see that. But what I want to say too is we have to build our own selves up. Like Mara was saying, we have to get those boundaries firm.
Yep.
And we have to really start taking care of ourselves because it's not their fault. We participated
Correct.
in it willingly.
Right. We chose it.
I went willingly.
And not only that, but it's just that realization, oh, I'm talking to a crazy person. I don't need to take this personally. I guess the four
But
agreements.
you just have to not be so damn polite. I mean, that's the thing. You run.
That's
I mean,
true.
I work in the
Boundaries.
entertainment business.
I need to work on my boundaries.
I'm going to tell you something. I have no boundaries. I don't. I just throw myself out there, but I'm okay with where the shit lands because I'm making that decision to live my life that way.
Yes.
But I work in the entertainment business. There would be no entertainment business without narcissists.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
So I have to thank you for my job. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, narcissists, for
Oh,
me
yes.
having a job.
There
Thank
would be
you.
no comedy
There'd
without
be nothing.
There'd be no comedy without
Nothing.
narcissism. And I just think that getting to a point in your mind where you realize you're talking to a wall, it's not you. It isn't you. Let's just get to that point. Because then we can stop feeling so badly.
I think that's it. I think that when you're in the relationship, that you feel alone, right? Don't you guys? I mean, they
Or
want you
victimized,
victimized or alone. And what Kim was saying, about setting healthy boundaries really has to be at the top, and the self-love and the unconditional love for yourself. And then trying to trust yourself again, and grounding is so important, right? We have so many people who aren't grounded, who need to maybe practice mindfulness, and
But
how
isn't it
powerful
sad,
that.
though? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Isn't
But
it
you always do.
Really? That is something that is bad that I need to stop doing. I'm going to sit here.
Oh, stop it. We always, look, you're talking to me. I cut everybody off.
That's why I'm like, woman,
I know. I cut everybody off.
Okay, so this is what I want to say. Back to what Cheryl was saying right now, the most important part is to forgive yourself. You know, whether we went knowingly or whether they tricked us or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Forgive yourself. It's just a mistake. We made a mistake.
We're
Move on.
human.
Move on.
Hey, I want to try. It's 8:19. We have what? I don't know. I'm bad with math.
10, 9,
11.
11. Thank you. 11 minutes.
With math.
11 minutes. I'm glad that I have human calculators because I am so screwed.
I said 9 minutes.
Well, then we went to the same
Yeah.
school.
Yes.
Okay. I want to get one more caller. Please. One more caller. Not going to beg you. Well, maybe.
Please.
Please.
You're begging, baby.
Puppy dog, please. 323-524-2599. I'm looking at how many people are watching. We've got a lot of people, and I appreciate it. But I would like one more call. And I'd like Cara to talk a little bit because Cara did her research.
Yes.
And Cara's been pretty quiet except for every once in a while a one-liner. And
my thing,
Unusual
baby.
for
I know,
Cara.
and that's why you're here. But I love you, and you're very intelligent, and I would like you to participate.
There's lots of stuff here. I mean,
Well, I didn't say do all of it.
Just pick something important to end on.
we've touched on pretty much everything, especially this sort of once you're there and you realize it, escape. That's a very, very big one. But I will say this, that at times I've been to a therapist around a narcissistic relationship that I was involved in. And, you know, it makes you wonder because they're mirrors as well. So they offer mirroring
Yes.
some of your own
Totally.
not particularly pleasant traits. And I mean, it's crazy making.
That's true. Can you talk about that more?
Well, only in as much as, can you believe this? My therapist also had a narcissistic issue in her family. And so we had a lot, we actually talked further in than the actual therapy. But basically what she did say was, if you're willing to talk about your own fears about your own narcissistic traits, that pretty much means you're not a narcissist.
Right,
That's
right,
right.
right.
And you know, and if you have your own empathy, because you can get drawn in, because the gaslighting, the twisting around of the truth, it's confusing. It's like your punch bag, and it's been a fascinating, interesting ride to be mirrored by someone you think is not a particularly nice person, but you have to wonder.
Like, you mean like you look at them and you spot things about them
Yourself.
that you have in yourself.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Or maybe had. Let's to be fair, you know, things I've done in my past when we were younger. We all did stupid things, bad things. All of us have made mistakes, but
Not me.
no, not you. But as we grow older, we develop, we mature, and we begin to draw the boundaries. And I think that's what she taught me most of all.
Kim, you're so pretty.
Isn't she?
Oh, okay.
She's gorgeous.
Oh my God.
Her eyes
I
are to
love
die
that
for.
you're on the show.
Thank you.
I
Thank
really
you.
love that for really having this open wound, you know, recently, that you've had the courage to come on the show.
Thank you.
And I'm thankful that you are healing. I'm glad that we're friends.
Thank you.
Aw.
I'm very happy about that. And I am healing. I mean, I have to say, like, we didn't really talk a lot about healing, but a ton of yoga for me. Codependence Anonymous.
And yoga.
Yeah, yoga's been amazing. And then a lot of just constantly a barrage all the way to work, all the way home, every time I'm in the car, of like self-help or loving the self, or just a constant barrage of those things. You know, I look back in my life and I actually probably think that my father was also narcissistic. He never wanted kids. He wanted my mother's whole attention. I mean, it goes back in my past further than I wanted to admit. And that's, I had to start with the core wound. I had to start with the first one.
Absolutely.
And you know, move from there.
Well, we have a caller. Someone took our challenge. Hi, everybody. Or hi, everybody. Duh. It's one person unless you're a big group and you're having a watching party. Hi, welcome to Between the Sheets. Who's calling? And thank you for calling in after you saw my puppy dog, guys.
Hey, Gaye. Hey, ladies. And Kim does have a lot of courage for being there. My name is Melanie, and I just wanted to ask the panel, what would you do if you broke up with someone and someone leans across and says, as you finally broke up with that narcissist, good for you. Then you look up narcissists, you figure it all out, and you save yourself, only to have that reflection, that time, you go away, you do whatever you can, only to have your friends let you know that this person sent a letter out to not only everyone that you know, but that both of you know. And I get calls from people letting me know this letter went out. You know, it's a form of.
Was it?
I actually know this story.
In the biggest way.
I know the story, and I didn't get the letter.
Smashing you or something?
Yeah, well, dissing you.
It was
taking your inventory.
I'll tell you. I'll give it. I'll say it, Mel, because you'll probably give too much information. It was sent to, hi, I'm moving on in life. I'm wonderful. This is what I'm doing.
God.
And by the way, and I'm going to be really cruel here because I don't like her ex-girlfriend anyway. And there's a whole story there too.
You lesbians are fabulous.
I know we are.
Aren't we?
Yes. She ended
can't
up
fight.
sending these million people pretty much discrediting my friend.
Oh, I can't believe that.
And what was interesting is, of course, I wasn't on the list, and it was interesting the way she did it was so calculating and manipulative. But the stupid part of it is I think, Mel, when you have asked people, and I have even asked on my friend's behalf, everyone said to me, wow, she really made herself looked out like to be an asshole.
See, intelligent people can spot that, right?
Correct. Mel?
I hope so. Can they?
Yes, we can. I'm not a narcissist for saying I'm intelligent, but we
It
can.
took me a year and a half to get out. It took me a year and a half to get
Good
out.
job,
but I
Melanie.
guess
Boom.
That's
Fist bump.
amazing.
Well, I just say what's really funny is there should be a group of Narcissists Anonymous, but it'd be empty. And on that note,
That would be nice.
thanks, Mel, for calling. I love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
Keep up the good work.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this tough episode of Between the Sheets. We'll, as you know, no two shows are ever the same on this thing. Next episode, which will be nothing like this, we'll have Margaret Cho. September 6th, Margaret Cho
Yeah.
will
Love
be here.
Margaret.
It's going to be insane. So maybe we'll talk about narcissism. I just think it should be a current theme. Just touch upon it every single episode.
You can run and run.
Run around, yep. And I think at the third Friday in September, we're going to have Cherie Curry and Bree Darling. Cherie Curry was part of the original Runaways with Joan Jett, and they have a new album coming out. Cool. So I think we're going to have fun with them. But this is a dialogue that I want to continue. It shouldn't stop when the show ends. Talk to your friends. Go to a CODA. Find help. Read books. I mean, I'm the kind of person that didn't want to do it alone. I don't, because my head is a horrible space sometimes. I mean, seriously, it's just so much overload and so much, mea culpa, that I really need to talk to people. Talk to your friends, talk to, a shrink. I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is, recognize it, get out. And if you're not strong enough to get out, find your circle to help you.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Yes, ask for help.
Forgive yourself.
And make soup. That's what I do.
Exactly.
And have good sex.
And it is very true. At Cara's house, you always know when there's a problem because there's a big bowl of soup on the stove for everyone. It's hard to get out of your comfort zone. It's hard to admit that you contributed. It's hard to admit that you fucked up. But we all do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's all about love, self-love, people who love you. And please learn to trust again because you are lovable and you will find love.
Exactly.
So on that note, I want to thank you. BetweenTheSheetPodcast.com, first and third Friday of every month here at UBN Go. I will post things up on YouTube, all over the audio stuff. I appreciate you all for being in my life out there. And all of you ladies play a very special role in my life to make this dream come true. So I am indebted to each and every one of you. And on that note, play the music before I start crying, and let's do our sign-outs.
I love you.
I love you, too.
That's my sign-out. Good night.
Good night. Love you, too. Cheryl Murphy, CherylMurphy.net.
Mara Shane on Facebook, and Mara Shane Creative Designs. And I love you, Gayan.
Cara Noble Voice on Facebook if you want to hear my latest commercial.
Kim Sanchez, I have just sold my restaurant, so you can't find me anywhere right now. And thank
but
you
you're
so
going
much.
on an amazing vacation with your daughters.
Going to Australia for 3 weeks.
That's
y'all.
right.
Nice.
Self-love, self-help, self-care.
Yes.
And Kat, I'll call you after the show. I love you. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.